Welcome to Hangman Tarot. We're going to get started with our celebrity tarot card reading, and we are doing a love reading with Kurt Cobain and Courtney Loves. So we're going to get into their current kind of overall scheme of things, the most present, the most recent vibe that we can catch from them, and then we will get into a reading, just kind of going into the past with their love situation and finding out all that we can, because again, we are Snoopy motherfuckers here. That is right, we are, just admit it. I know, I had to admit it. I had to say, you know what, this is where it's at. I'm Snoopy, you're Snoopy. It's fine. It's fine. It's better than, you know, doing other bad things. So this is the worst, fine. All right, hit subscribe, please, and thank you. The rest of the spiel or information on Hangman Tarot will be at the end of this reading, so please stay tuned for that, especially if you're really wanting to, you know, check out a little bit more about Hangman Tarot. All right, we are going to get into this reading. I'm going to go over their astrology really quickly here, and then we will start. Kurt Cobain, February 20th, 1967, Washington, USA is where he was born. He's a singer and an artist, and his death date was April 15th, 1994. He's Pisces, Cancer, and a Virgo rising, and he was a birth path of 9. She was also a birth path of 9, and then she was a Cancer, and then her rising was a Libra. She was born in the United States in California. She was an actress, she was a singer, she was also an artist. And again, she was a birth path of 9. Okay, here we go. Okay, so we all know who they are. I guess basically when he passed away, he had overdosed on drugs. I don't quite remember what the whole situation was, but I know that there has been a lot of conspiracy theory on whether or not Courtney Love killed him, or if he actually just passed away because of the drug situation, or if he committed suicide. So there was a few things that were being said, talked about, yada, yada, yada. Okay, so there was lack of harmony at the very moment, the last moment that they had. The most current, the most recent thing that we can catch here is definitely in the heart chakra for the both of them. They both were low in vibes as far as like bliss, ecstatic, anything exciting, love, emotion, feeling. Those were very low in harmony. So any information on that is probably definitely correct as far as them not vibing right before. Also, there's definitely some sort of a realm that kind of bridges the two of them together. So I'm sure that the creation or the growth that they had was for a specific reason. I'm sure of it. I don't doubt that for 2 seconds for some reason. We are going to get into their tarot card reading. So we're just going to find out about kind of the situation between the two of them, okay? What it was in the past first. So we're going to find out all about the past, and then we will get into present. And then anything that was, you know, upcoming previous to his passing, okay? Okay. She's definitely that Queen of Swords vibe. That is so weird. And as soon as I hit the deck, Queen of Swords. Okay, so we are going to find out. She's going to be on the right of me, and he's going to be over on the left. So we're going to find out what their thoughts and feelings were between the two of each other. I'm going to sneeze. Woo! Holy buckets. Okay. Holy shit. So sorry. Okay, so we're going to find out their thoughts, their feelings on one another as far as emotions, feelings, their situation when they were first together. So let's talk about when they were first very together, vibing together. He was low in energy when they were introduced or when they were meeting. So in the past, this is definitely being indicated. And she was in a really good place as far as communication, clarity in her life. She was actually very much just very curious and wanting change, and that's just the type of person she is. The connection is probably the communication that the two of them had, or the clarity they had between each other. Any balance or emotion that was, you know, a little over tense or not enough was balanced out probably by her. I know people are like, no, but you know, that's what it is. Okay, so thoughts and feelings over on his end and her end. Okay. Okay, so he's over here with Seven of Wands upright, Chariot upright, and then she's got Six of Swords, and then Page of Cups. Those are both in reverse. So over on his end of things, the thoughts on the situation when they first got together was just kind of taking advantage of the situation, or the knowing he knew some information on her, or he was aware of some things. So this is definitely something that he wanted to stand his ground on. He thought, you know, in the beginning especially, it's almost like he was being defiant. And I feel like that was definitely a part of kind of like maybe people not really wanting them to be together or be around each other. But he was definitely going to stay in his ground no matter how fucked up it might be or how unfucked up it was. Emotionally, he wanted self-love more than anything. But again, he was definitely feeling like he was forced to overly commit when emotionally coming into this relationship. And I feel like that, again, this is just with any information that he got, getting into some sort of victory in this relationship would have really added to it, but instead he had to change his perception. He had to shift his view on the situation so that he could remain, you know, in control here. But he was overly committed straight away. Over on her end of things, the thoughts were just not very inspiring. She wasn't very inspired. She was pretty shut off from, you know, potentials. I don't know what that might mean to anybody else, but I definitely feel like she kind of thought he was a child, kind of acted like a child, or maybe she was acting like a child, not quite sure, but she thought she was kind of unlucky, or he was unlucky. And emotionally, she felt like there was just no balance here. And it was almost like this would have to change my thinking, or I would have to change his thinking. So the both of them to really get together, like it's almost like they got together because everybody else didn't want them to. So it's almost like they kind of were like, we're going to do this, moving on, and we're going to force it. And there was definitely no balance. Emotionally, she was delayed when she got into this relationship. That could have had a lot to do with like mental illness. That could have had to do a lot to do with loss or PTSD, or like any mental mismanagement. I feel like there was just a huge message here that the two of them probably weren't in the healthiest space. Does that mean she can't communicate or be as clear? No. But I feel like she definitely was on her way out all the time. Always floating down a river saying goodbye all the time, constantly, okay? Let's find out what their intentions were for one another. His intentions were to be flirty, sexual, free-spirited with her, and hers were just getting a new beginning. So she was taking a leap of faith here, just kind of maybe, you know, going in on a whim. And it was time for her to fall in love. She was, you know, trusting herself, but it was a time and a moment that she was welcoming. She was definitely vibing it and ready for it. What did they feel around the time of his passing? What were the thoughts and feelings? Let's start with her. Over on her end, she felt, okay, so she felt like this was complete victim mentality. So she felt like he was kind of being a victim about some things, and I feel like she was emotionally wounded. So, you know, thinking about the situation, she definitely felt like there was conflict after conflict after conflict, especially physically. There was a conflict. They could have even went at each other. I feel like there's definitely some sort of mental fog though here, and I feel like when she thinks about it, when she was thinking about it, even during that moment, she had lack of any sort of I guess reliability. She was very passive about it. She was overly focused on probably finances, or overly focused on career at the time. Emotionally, she felt like she needed to get help for her partner. She did. And she definitely would have found peace within that. But, you know, she felt like she was almost there, if that makes sense, okay? Over on his end, his thoughts on the situation around the time of his passing was definitely, he feels like this was failed. This is a failed situation, this endeavor. This is definitely not something that I'm going to be able to deal with anymore. You know, the past is going to have to be the past. I'm going to have to move forward. But it's almost like he didn't want to will anything else in. Or he felt like he was near the beginning of something else. Or maybe he thought he was going to be near something, or he was almost into a place where they could restart things. I'm not quite sure. Either or. I do feel like the emotions, though, he had really high standards, and he emotionally needed a balance in love. The materials were here very much so. He was very successful. He felt successful. Those things were all here. There was some sort of materials of security that he probably wasn't feeling fulfilled in. But emotionally, again, I just feel like he's like, you know, we're almost in this, you know, we're almost there. We're almost like feeling like really content. We're almost there. What was his intention when he passed? What was hers? His heart was out. His heart was out the door. He's definitely indicating the mother. He was out of touch with the mother. Now, this could have been his mom, but I feel like it's her because it's his baby mom. He was definitely motivated by the lover. He was motivated by her in the passing. So the disruption that was being had, the chaos that was consuming, the non-nurturing, the very masculine energy, just too much of it. It was just too much. Lack of growth. There was no growth here. There was no creation. There was no, us and, them. It was just like all of a sudden there was disruption. Okay. Over on her end, there was like a huge inner surge. And really just, she was starting to kind of really see how things were. And I feel like she was really using discretion at the time. And she really just wanted to take time to see, how much more, what else she needed to do. She was really, kind of isolating and withdrawing. She was probably withdrawing from him. So she probably took her energy and went and sat away from him. And that probably disturbed him very, very much. Okay. How did it happen? Okay. Okay, so how did it happen? What was kind of surrounding it was that there was something very dishonest happening here. There was lack of accountability from somebody, and it was almost like somebody just kind of continued to live in denial. And I feel like that was more so on his end. I feel like over on her end, she was just like, I don't want to do this relationship type thing. She believes in herself. She wanted to be the center of attention. She was very clear in her truth. And the joy or the energy or the positivity or the warmth was very much taken away. It was gone. It was completely gone. It brought them into a place where there was a self-realization and a grasping of some spiritual, almost like an awakening, okay? But the awakening was too much. It was just too much. And I feel like it was almost like I just wanted to love with a good intention. And it said, true motives. You know who the narcissist is. The balance here, the harsh judgment, there's so many things playing on the situation or even being, as clear as she can. She was being clear in her truth. She was being as honest as she could be. The experience here was definitely shutting down. It's the ending results here. Okay, so by the ending here, the bottom root is father issue. Okay, rigid thoughts, lack of discipline, lack of support, lack of any kind of masculine in his past, like the right one. I feel like there was definitely some sort of abuse that he went through or endured, and some sort of discipline that he wasn't getting as a child that he should have, like boundaries, support, and like, I'm going to love you in the best way possible, even though it might be difficult on me. It was just very much put him in a place where he feared commitment. He feared good things happening to him. He wanted to stand up, but it's like you can't stand up without your backbone. It was almost like his father. There was no father tied to his spine, like none. Okay, I don't know how else to explain that. But the stability or, him even manifesting, it's just like those things were really trippy for him. I definitely feel as if the thoughts really got to him and the determination. Okay. Over on her end of things, I think that the trouble in love had a lot to do with it too. There was some fucked up words being said between the two of them, and that had tons to do with it also. I feel like there definitely wasn't anything clear being said. There was a lot of violence and aggression at this time or right before, and I feel like the defensiveness was coming from her. And it was almost like she was tired. She was tired, he was tired. And it was like the further and further that they were manipulating and, confusing each other and having conversations, the more that the mental loss became. There was just like mental illness, mental loss. It was just like a space, a void. And all of the things that could help you out of that, they weren't raised with or something, or they weren't managed with when they grew up. So yeah, definitely had a lot to do with like his demons from his past, but it had a lot to do with the demon that was sitting right in front of him too. Okay, and I think that she withdrew. I don't think that she did shit. So she would be guilty of that, of course. I just don't think that she pulled the trigger, so to speak. Okay, I gotta get out of here. Please go ahead and hit subscribe to Hangman Tarot if you would, please and thank you. Also, go ahead and like this video, share on all of your social media if you would. Also, thank you so much for watching. Because of you guys, we have 2,200 subscribers. So thank you so much for your support and your awesome coming back and checking in and all of your requests. We also have almost over 400,000 views. So keep watching and keep tuning in. And other than that, I hope that you all enjoy the rest of this beautiful, beautiful Sunday. See you.